you believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up? So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music. Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting. It's your main man, Andy Gillies here. Hope everybody is doing well right now.
Hello everyone, Stu here. We've never kind of addressed this. If you're the main man, what does that make us do? Well, me, in this case, until Matthew returns. Am I Piper or...
I mean, in fairness, you can pick your own moniker, Stu. Do whatever you want. I mean, you're sort of looking like... I don't know what, to be perfectly honest today. I mean, I was trying to put it to words, and honestly, I've got nothing. He's wearing a hoodie with the hood up, sunglasses on. It's dusk, and he's just hanging out of his arse. Oh, by the way, hello, we're joined by Tara as well.
Hi there.
Tara.
Hey everyone.
Better do that first before we
take the piss out of Stu. Honestly, on my worst day, I've never worn sunglasses in the house.
It's probably not even the first time this year that I've had to do this. I know that there was that one time when I had chlorine in my eyes and I couldn't see. That was different though. But I mean, when you say you're nearly 41, I mean, 40 and a half, let's get that right. But I was by no means the oldest person there. I was probably the second youngest. Of our nice trip to where did we go yesterday?
Manchester.
The little town of Stalybridge, which was the most glorious place, and the people were amazing as well, which always helps. And they actually wanted us there, and so wow. we went past 4 pubs before we even parked up, and so we had the best part of 5 hours. So the steady. I mean, looking at my bank to confirm how much I drank, it's the equivalent of 10 pints on there. Obviously, I was in it.
How do you drink 10 pints in 5 hours?
Every half hour, easy. Maths.
I know it's maths, but physically, how the fuck do you do that? I mean, I like a drink, but I couldn't, and before a game as well. I think the one that I had, we went to see Eddie. I went to see Eddie Izzard years ago with my best friend Laura, and we got hammered before the gig, and it ruined it for everyone else. But because I was just being an obnoxious shithouse, and so I've learned to not do it now. Have you not learned?
We got in the ground. We left Stalybridge at 3:45, and the kick-off was 5:30. So we had that half-hour, 45-minute journey down the road, and we got in the ground, and I had a bovril and a meat and potato pie to kind of cool down. And then I was going to have one at half-time, but I was too pissed off to drink by that point. So But that was more about the performance than anything else. But I mean, it still doesn't beat the record. I mean, the record before a game was 11, and that was Ebanks Blake's debut, Scunthorpe, Andy. So what was that, 2009? Something like...
Yeah, I think it was the January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2009 we signed him, yeah.
Yeah, so we went to Brig that day and I had 11 in 4 hours, so that was impressive. But that's still never been broken. I mean, the chances were there. Chances were there yesterday to beat that record, but we got Liverpool in 2 weeks and we got 4 hours there, so the game is on.
You can do it. I don't want to damage your liver, but, you know, if you feel you have to.
So it's only like when it gets to this success, I mean, I think it's probably the first time in a long while I've actually had to cry off being on Fancast because I would have been mocked live. And now it's just a distraction me looking.
You're also being mocked now. So what's the difference? We're taking us here.
Well, this is not our video and this is not distracting from the excellent point.
We can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is video evidence because the video is running, Stu, so
it
could still go out. So
yeah.
It can be clipped out.
Yeah.
I think people need to see what we're talking about here.
I mean, this first 5 minutes can go up, but I did feel that I did contemplate saying, can we do this tomorrow? Because I was very Daishian this morning. So at least my voice came back mostly, but
slightly,
yeah.
Incredible.
Have you seen? This is actually relevant to this, that Sean Dyche is in a music video.
Yeah. Oh, God, who is it? Is it Blossoms? I know he's.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I think he's in the Blossom. I haven't seen the video, but I read about it. Yeah, I love Sean Dyche. I think he's great.
Yes. Well done.
Now, we've been over this several times on the Fancast. If you need the background, just listen to the actors now. We should really talk about film, I suppose, after that.
I suppose to. Oh, really? Can it not just be a mock Stu week this week?
Yeah, well, that's fine.
All right, so we'll start with the news, as always. This is the segment I've labelled Toys for Boys because it is all about the kind of things that I know I did, and I'm guessing Stu probably grew up playing with. Tara, I don't know how much mileage you'll have with this segment, if I'm honest.
I can join in. I am older than you two, so...
Yeah,
You'll probably remember the stuff. It's just whether or not you actually had any interest in it is kind of intriguing to me. So we'll start off. Ghostbusters. Apparently, so back in 2022 when Afterlife was released, they announced that they were going to be doing an animated series that was going to be on Netflix. It went very quiet on that front, but last month, Gil Keenan, the guy who directed Frozen Empire, said, I just watched an entire art presentation for the show. I've seen the sets and the environments. I just saw my first glimpse at a world of supernatural characters as realised by our brilliant creative team. All I can say is the work is being done as we speak. It's what we call in full development. Scripts are being written, art is being created, and it's a great time to be a Ghostbuster. So it looks like we're going to be getting a new series then. By the sounds of it, it's in full swing. Hopefully we'll get something. Probably it's going to be next year at this point if they're still in the developmental stage of it. Tara, have you seen the latest Ghostbusters?
I haven't seen Frozen Empire. I did watch the other one, the first one of that, and I enjoyed it. I did. But no, because we've got a dog now, can't go out, so I couldn't get to go to the pictures or do anything. I don't know. I think because I watched the Ghostbusters cartoons as kids, both sets, because there was the Filmation one, and then there was the other one that had Lorenzo Music voicing Bill Murray's character.
It was the Extreme Ghostbusters and the Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
With the full titles, weren't they?
Yeah. And one of them had an episode, The Collect Call of Cthulhu. So it referenced Cthulhu in a kids' cartoon series, which was brilliant. I might give it a go. I don't know. I kind of like because David's watching the Star Wars stuff, and he watches Lower Decks as well, the Star Trek one, and I've watched a few of those, and they're pretty good. They're quite good. I'm not sure. Like I say, I haven't seen the new one, so and it's had proper mixed reviews, so I don't know whether I'm bothered or not.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Stu, if I remember rightly, you enjoyed it as well.
I haven't
It
seen it.
scratches that. Oh, but you've not seen
Frozen Input. No, I was going to go and then I refused because they kept putting it on screen 1 and 2 and I wanted to watch it properly, or at least on 8, and they wouldn't do it, would they? Because something else was out. But our Ghostbusters correspondent Goldie did, when I spoke to him about it, he spent £100 on a proton pack. So it's and his own personalised jumpsuit with his name on.
It looks fantastic though, doesn't it?
I made a proton pack once and I personalised my own jumpsuit. We went to a sci-fi weekender and I made a proton pack. It was a baking tray and like the top of a box and stuff. It was half decent, let me tell you. But yeah, I know I've got a friend like that. I've got a couple of friends who are mad into Ghostbusters, and Graham's got the set. Graham's got everything.
Yeah, real Ghostbusters. There was a whole thing about that, wasn't there? That they had to call it something else because Ghostbusters was already a TV show, and but I loved that. I had the videos and everything, and especially the one where the tube train turned into a worm. I remember that episode very fondly, and the band were playing at the bandstand art class, and obviously we had the firehouse and everything. So I'm gonna watch the shit out of this, of course I am. I just kind of hope it's not the new style of Western animation, and it's done properly, and it doesn't look awful. Because
what are you talking about?
There's a kind of scratchiness to certain things.
Oh, so the new Turtles film and
oh no, that's it.
We're happy with that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
there's an in between that I've seen a few things. It's all, you look at the Castlevania stuff on Netflix, and that's excellent. But there's also modern cartoon. I'll have to find an example of it. I stumbled over one the other day on there, and I thought, no, this looks. You can tell it's done cheaply.
Right.
And you don't want that enough for Ghostbusters.
I'd even take how they've done the He-Man series.
Yeah,
That's fine for me. I quite like that. It looks sort of fresh, but also has that retro feel to it. So I'd be more than happy to give that one a go. I've really enjoyed both of the Ghostbusters films, even though I generally hate anything that just plays on nostalgia. But this does sort of scratch the itch. This is the exception that proves the rule for me, I think, and I have really enjoyed what they've given us so far. So I am looking forward to that one. Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover has been confirmed. CinemaCon 2024, as part of their presentation, Paramount confirmed that a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover is in development. No news on if this is going to be a sequel to the Beast Wars film or if this is going to be a new thing altogether. In the comic books, I don't know how much you've read of it, but they've set up a new Energon universe, which is basically Transformers, G.I. Joe, and something called Void Rivals. And it's from the creator of The Walking Dead, so it's Robert Kirkman stuff. It started off okay, but I don't have enough of a nostalgia base for G.I. Joe to care enough, I think. So Chris, who's the manager of the local Forbidden Planet, he's always talking to me about G.I. Joe, and it sounds amazing whenever he talks about it. But then when I've read the books, it just hasn't quite hit me the same way, so I don't know if this is an age thing. Because, Stu, we never had that G.I. Joe thing when we were growing up, did we? Whereas Transformers, obviously, we know quite well.
We had Action Man and his eunuch mount, didn't we? It's very much an American, but watching it, I have watched it back now, the G.I. Joe cartoon, and obviously this was teased at the end of the last Transformers film anyway, where they were setting it up, and I did get very excited, even though I've got no kind of history with G.I. Joe, but it's part of this stuff, and now I've long talked about Transformers, and I can watch them films over and over again, obviously. But I like that. You like the last one as well? You can't deny it.
It was all right. It was okay. It's not great, but it was fine. Better than, the others. But that's a low fucking bar, let's be honest.
I went to see the first Transformers film at the pictures, and then I didn't bother with any more, but I really, really enjoyed Bumblebee. I thought that was great. I thought that was really good fun, and just really enjoyable. But I've got nothing to add to this conversation because I was quite a girly girl, so I wouldn't have watched G.I. Joe. That wouldn't have been my thing. So I can't really add to this, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and like I don't even know if there was a G.I. Joe cartoon in the UK, so I don't know if you would have even had a chance to see it had you not been.
No, actually, thinking about it, G.I. Joe, I think over here it was renamed Action Force. Yeah, it was renamed.
And that's where Action Man the toy comes from, is it?
No, Action Man's been out for years, but Action Force, Christian Rush, it's like Action Force, the greatest hero of them all. And that was one of the things. So if you look, you can find the adverts on YouTube. So G.I. Joe transformed it, like Top Cat and Boss Cat and things like that. Because I think over here we didn't have GIs, so it was just Action Force. But I think it's the same sort of thing.
Okay.
Should have been Ultimate Force, like Ross Kemp.
Fucking no way, not fucking Ross Kemp.
That show is excellent, by the way.
I can't ever see Ross Kemp without the extras Ricky Gervais show.
Super Army Soldier.
Yeah, like that's what goes into Ross Kemp, and I loved him in that. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding performance. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. It's a great time to be a Turtles fan. So we've got Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series coming soon. That's based on last year's one of their biggest earners, which was the Mutant Mayhem film.
That was brilliant. That was such a good film. Sorry to interrupt. That I loved that.
I went to the cinema like 4 weeks in a row to see it. I absolutely loved that movie. I think it was outstanding.
Yeah.
So you're getting a game as well, which is from Black Forest Games and THQ Nordic. And they've now confirmed we're getting a live action film based on the Last Ronin series, which has been 2020, I think, was the first one, and we're now on the third volume of that series of The Last Ronin. Stu, I know you're a Turtles fan. Are you excited about this? Do you know much of The Last Ronin storyline?
I know the premise of it. I don't really want to know anything else. I'm obviously not going to read anything, and I'm not going to read the comics or the books. So if the game is going to tell us which one it is, then I'd rather do that. I know they've said that it is, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you get to the end and then it's a kind of cliffhanger and it's all that kind of cross media stuff with the film and all that kind of thing. But do you want to tell the good boys and girls our little adventure in time, more or less, to Home Bargains last week?
I followed this on Twitter.
Yeah, so Stu put in the group chat that in Home Bargains they had released, or they'd got in some of these mini Turtles figures. They're like, what, 2 inches, are they? They're not particularly big figures. No. And Stu had got this collection of the four boys, and I was like, right, okay. And literally within half an hour, I had got showered, brushed my teeth, put clothes on, and raced over to Home Bargains, only to find they only had 3 of the 4 boys. I was not entirely impressed with that. And it turns out that Stu, the fucker, had got the last full set. Luckily, I had to pop into the city, so there is another Home Bargains on the way into the city. And they went in, and they only had 3 of the 4 boys again, but it was one of the 3 was the one that I was missing. So I managed to rescue Raphael for the second one.
The best turtle.
No, it's Michelangelo. Michelangelo is the best.
No, Michelangelo's a
He'll die on.
Raphael is just sarcastic.
He's a party dude, and that's what
He always struck me as being a bit...
Tara, is this one beyond you, or were you into the Turtles at all growing up?
I watched it when it was on. Funnily enough, at school, because in our class there were quite a few ginger kids. We got called the Teenage Mutant Ginger Turtles. Even though it was mutant, because James Furman changed it and all that stuff. I watched it. Like it was fine. I was probably too old for it. I was probably about 12, 13 when it came out. So and predominantly it wasn't aimed at me. It wasn't aimed at me. It was aimed at a lot of the cartoons in the 80s were aimed at boys. So
yeah, very much so.
Like Jason the Wheel Warriors and all that stuff.
that show. Not many people even remember Jason the World Warriors, but it was fucking superb.
It was mental, yeah.
Well, it was plants that seemed to control cars. It made no sense whatsoever. And Visionaries as well.
Visionary.
How that's never made a comeback, I don't get.
What was it? I was just thinking of another one.
Do you take in your head? Do you not remember the Visionaries?
No, that one's...
The Knights of the Magical Light.
Oh, no. I remember that being a thing. I've never watched it, though. I remember Jason the World Warriors, and I remember Biker Mice and all that stuff, but
Biker Mice and Mars.
Obviously.
I think Biker Mice was a little bit later. I think that was the 90s.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Visionaries. I remember having it on VHS, and I just played the shit out of that as a kid. And had all the toys and everything. I loved it. Absolutely. Yeah, I think you'd even enjoy it, Stu, because it's kind of got an almost Lord of the Ringsian come sci-fi bent to it. So I think you might enjoy it. It's weird, and obviously it's very kid-friendly, but I think there's only 13 episodes were ever made of it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, check that out. I think you'd like it.
Vision.
Finally then, on the Toys for Boys section, Thundercats. Tara, interest in the Thundercats?
Yes, because...
At least they had female characters in it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Wily Kit, I forget which one it was, and Chitara. And my nickname at school was Chitara because I'm called Tara. So I remember watching it on the first episode where Lion-O, Wily Kit and Wily Cat I forget what happens, and then Lion-O becomes Lion-O. Yeah, I'm interested in watching it.
Yeah, so Adam Wingard was originally touted back in 2021.
Oh, brilliant.
With the success of Godzilla Kong, it looks like it's back on the table to be... They said 2025, but there's absolutely no way they'll be getting a live-action Thundercats out in, a year and a half.
No way.
I just imagine the post-production's going to take a year in itself. But yeah, it looks like that's back on the table, which is kind of exciting. But when I've watched episodes of Thundercats fairly recently, they're not that good. Fuck all happens in these episodes. And they're exactly the same structure every episode. It's not brilliant, but it just still play a role in my childhood.
Hey, look,
a lot of it's trait.
If they don't keep Snarf, if they get rid of Snarf, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, Snarf was a cunt, wasn't he?
Snarf was an absolute fucking dickbag, yeah.
A lot of it's traced over the same thing every week as well, if you watch it closely enough. It was obviously made of the cheaper. I had Thundercats curtains and everything. Loved it. I just...
Actually.
There's something there I'm not quite getting it. I'm too drunk. I'm just thinking of Chitara, the ginger turtle, that being in the whole thing.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah,
and not in relation to opening curtains either. Before
Right, we'll move on to some more grown-up stuff now. Then Mike Flanagan is in talks to direct the next Exorcist film. So after several very, very badly reviewed Exorcist sequels, we had Exorcist Believer last year, which seems to have been the worst of the bunch by the sounds of it. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
But yes, so it looks like Mike Flanagan, who... Stu, I know you're a fan of Mike Flanagan's work. I've only seen that vampire one on that little island.
Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass.
That's the one. I didn't love it, so...
David and me, in our house, David is the biggest fan of Mike Flanagan. And I am as well. So we watched The Haunting of Hill House. We watched... we didn't watch Bly Manor now. Midnight Mass. And then he's got that... He's one of his films. I didn't watch Gerald's Game. He did Gerald's Game.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, but he did... oh, God, what's it called?
I mean, Gerald's Game is very much... Stephen King did a fuck ton of blow when he was writing that. That goes...
That's it as well, though. That's it as well. Oh, sorry, I've got to look it up. What's it called? He did a film where because he casts his wife in everything. And yes. David and me are always watching.
Something.
Yeah, David and me are always watching going, he's punching, isn't he? Have you seen him? Let me look. Mike Flanagan, the film. Because we're massive fans. We're massive fans of him here. Katie Siegel, he's married to. Hush. Have you seen Hush?
Yep.
Hush is brilliant.
You have, Andy. We've talked about this before. I'm sure you have.
I'll take your word for it, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
There's a woman in her house, and she's mute and deaf, and there's a fella outside.
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah, I know the one. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So
I never knew that was the title, but
yeah. No, I had to look it up. I forgot. But no, anything Mike Flanagan's down for. Yes, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah.
Is that Cooler Shaker? Hush.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
K was the album. I loved that album, and I listened to it back a couple of years ago, and it's not good.
They're not sick, are they?
Yeah, they're playing. I go to Shine Music Festival down in Somerset in November, and they're fucking headlining. I'm just gonna stay in the fucking room and get wrecked. I can't be arsed with them because I'll just end up calling Crispy and Mills a fucking twat or something.
It's better than Pulp though. So
you fuck up.
No, it's fucking nasty.
Don't make me come down there.
Stu, would it be a good idea, do you think, for the studios to like get behind one creative, someone like Mike Flanagan? Because these Exorcist films, they've had several different directors and none of them have really got to grips with it. Like, other than Billy Friedkin way back when, no one's done anything. So do you think giving it to somebody to give a singular vision would be the best way to treat the source?
I mean, we've got this with James Gunn, haven't we? And that works. Hopefully.
This is what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking, yeah.
But he's got a niche, so play to that niche. And as long as he gets rolling, which he seems to be his best friend, and he's shown more than one occasion that he's excellent in everything anyway. So, yeah, like you said, it's dead on its arse. It needs something different. Just start again. You're never gonna. It's almost like you need to retire that name, just get rid of it and do it something else. But they're never going to do that because it is what it is.
Rules the world, yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite Exorcist film is Exorcist 3, which was out in 1990, I think, and it's set in a mental asylum. Check it. You need to check it out. It's really good. It's George C. Scott plays a detective. And because somebody's going around killing people, and Brad Dourif's in it as well. Jason Miller from the original is in it, and it's really good. Don't bother with fucking Exorcist 2. I did that for one of my podcasts, and it was just like I took the piss the entire time. The best thing about it is the music.
Go and listen to that episode of The Killing, and if you can find it, because it is very funny.
if you can find it, if it's not Patreoned up. Yes, and sorry, there's been no killings, but we've got a puppy and she's a dickhead. So hopefully there should be one. There should be one coming next week. So yeah, but no,
keeping it horror themed then.
Yeah.
Inside Number 9. Stu, did you ever get round to it? Because I know we spoke about it, and I don't think you watched it when we first spoke about it. Have you seen it since?
No, because I was waiting for it to finish. Because the way you and Matt talked about it, it was like, well, this is going to leave a lot of things to be desired if it's not finished. Even though it's anthology, isn't it? So
yeah. So the final season is due to start. It'll be tomorrow. If you're listening to this podcast on the day it goes out, it's released on the 8th of May. Will be the first episode of season 9, which will be the final one. They've also announced that they will be doing a West End run as well, so there'll be a live show inside.
Properly looking forward to that, really am.
Yeah. I imagine that's going to be sort of like Ghost Story was, the Andy Nyman.
Oh.
I'm kind of gutted I never got to see.
I saw it.
Film, and I loved it.
No,
I wish I saw the play.
I got David tickets for Christmas, and we went to see it, and it was brilliant. Because it piped in sounds, it piped in smells of stuff. It was so good. It was so well done. The film worked, I think, but I think it worked better in a theatre.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So you've not seen it, Stu. So I think you've now got time. You can probably catch up by the time the last episode goes out, and you can tell us all your favourites when we revene in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
Scream 7, Nev Campbell has been paid her money and she's returning alongside Courtney Cox. just let it die. I mean, we've spoken about it several times at this point. I didn't like 5 or 6, and I don't like Melissa Barrera. I don't think she's a good actor. The other one who everyone seems to love,
General Ortega.
Yeah, I'm very indifferent towards her.
I don't give a fuck.
She was fine in X, but honestly, I kind of just wish they'd just let Scream go now, because it's not that interesting, and bringing Nev Campbell back just feels desperate.
But you know why they've brought Nev Campbell back, though? Because Melissa Thingy posted in support of Palestine, and they sacked her for that. And then General Ortega was like, yeah, I can't do it either. So she stood in solidarity. So they brought Nev Campbell back. So that's why.
So
really, they should never have made a film without Nev Campbell, if I'm being perfectly honest, in the first place. It should have died at 5. But, you know, they're never going to let it go because it's money on the table, isn't it?
Yeah, I like 5. I mean, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, about there's parts of 6 that are okay, and there's the scene across the between the apartments is pretty good.
That's the best bit. That's the best bit.
But that easy.
But the thing is, it's set in New York, and not once do you see, like, you don't see the Empire State Building, you don't see the Statue of Liberty, you don't see any of it. It's supposed to be set in New York.
Could have been anywhere in the States. Hated it.
I went on it. They did a double bill here of Scream 5 and Scream 6. And I went with my next door neighbour, Lee, who's a massive horror fan. And he brought some mates. And I was sitting next to I was sitting next to one of his mates during Scream 5, which I'd never seen. And then when the killer comes on screen and they go, oh, I don't know who the killer is. She just shouted at the screen, it's fucking you. And I'm like, oh, right, sound great. I don't need to watch this anymore because you've just given it away. But it was okay. I don't know. No, Scream 6 was just like, I watched the original Scream at the cinema, and I didn't think it was great, but that's because I grew up on Video Nasties and Freddy Krueger and all that stuff, so I didn't think it was. I've since revisited it and think that it's a really, really good film. But at the time, because I was so hardcore horror, it was like shower shit.
Thing is, after I watched 6 at the cinema, I had my face like thunder for the last half an hour. So I know everything that's going to happen, and everything happened. I was just angry. And the first thing I did when I got out, for some reason, I watched Scream 4, and I don't know why, of all of the film. But I really enjoyed it. I was like, well, this is much more interesting. This is much more fun. Yeah, like, it's not a good film, but it was fun, whereas there was none of that with Scream 6. I'd said on a tweet, I remember saying at the point that Scream has just got to the point that it's got nothing left to say about the horror genre, so why is it still going? Because that's its entire existence is based on that, about having a metatextual conversation about horror. And at this point, it's just tropes. It's nothing interesting.
No.
Doom 3 has been confirmed. Stu, is it called Dune Messiah, if I remember correctly?
That's what the
next one.
That's what the other book's called, isn't it? So that everyone's just kind of calling it that anyway. And hopefully it wraps that story up very nicely. Because we don't want to be going another 3 years and doing his son's books and all that kind of stuff. You're going to moan, you're going to not want to watch it, and then you'll be there day one anyway. That's how it's going to go.
I will definitely see this. I didn't hate the last one. I thought it was all right. And I was interested at the end of it, and it did enough to talk me back into the cinema to see the third part. Because I want to see him go mad and start killing people. Well, that's the only thing I'm interested in at this point, is I want to see his heel turn, go full all the way now. I'm okay with it at this point, yeah. Tara, did you enjoy the Dune films, or did you not bother?
I watched the first one. I think probably fell asleep. It's not my cup of tea. David enjoys them. They're not for me. So I think I enjoyed the first one. I can't remember. Like, I've been asleep since then. So,
I probably should have put this bit in the toys for boys section, although it's more toys for everybody. So, you know how when Margot Robbie made Barbie and everyone said they're going to learn the wrong lesson from this film? So it turns out Margot Robbie is developing another film based on a Hasbro property, Monopoly. Like, part of the reason that Barbie was so wonderful is that it had a message and it was interesting, and it wasn't just a film about a doll and her life. It was more than that. It had something behind that. So I just feel like now we're going to get Monopoly, we're going to get the game of life, we're going to get all of this, and it's literally just going to be the game.
can they make Buckaroo? Imagine that. Just like a Buckaroo. I'll be honest.
I'd be surprised if they went that.
I'll be honest. I thought Barbie was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was all right. I didn't get the big hoo-ha about it. Genuinely, I didn't. And this is me, who is like a dyed-in-the-wool proper, trans-inclusive feminist and all that stuff. I just thought it was fine. I didn't get the whole I'm just Ken. I was just like, oh, okay, fine, yeah.
I don't think that bit was for you, though, really, was it? No, I'm just Ken.
Because
I still feel that now.
The bit I enjoyed was seeing Ncuti Gatwa in it. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah. But
spoiler for one of the upcoming questions, I watched Barbie again last night, and I really fucking like that.
What question could that be?
Stu, Monopoly. I mean, I suppose they could go down the capitalism route here, couldn't they? They could try and add a little bit of something to it. I'll be honest, like early doors, just the idea of making a film based on Monopoly, either if it's based on how the game was made or what the game is, just doesn't interest me at all. How do you feel?
The only way it's going to be interesting to me is if they do it like the Tetris film, because that was great. But they're not going to, are they? They're going to make it silly by the sounds of it, and I don't know how you make that silly, because it's an annoying game anyway that no one really likes, if they're honest with themselves.
No, funny. It's really funny you should say that. So our neighbour was over earlier, and so they said, "Oh, they've got Animal Crossing Monopoly," and they said they were going to make David play, and David's like, "I hate Monopoly. I've always hated Monopoly," and I was like, I'd bought him Star Wars Monopoly years ago, and I didn't realise it at the time. And he's like, "I fucking hate it. It's just the worst game." I quite enjoy a game of Monopoly. Being a socialist, it's quite fun to see how capitalists live.
Stu, you're going to have to help me out with the next one. Heroes is coming back. I lost interest like 20 episodes into season 1. There's 2 left and I just gave up.
So you never saw the cheerleader be saved properly? Oh, no. Why? Just why? Why? It ended okay, and it was nice. I mean, they had to bring it back to finish the story because it never ended properly. Right. Because it got done with the writer's strike, didn't it? So that it fucked everything up like it did with Lost and everything else around that time, which wasn't their fault. But it just turned it shit. So they're gonna have to do something to bring it back and finish it off. And I thought Heroes, I think it was Reborn or Rebirth or something like that. When it came back, it was all right and it ended well. Don't get it. Do not get it. It's not like it's not like you're bringing back the MCU from the dead. It was never massive anyway. It's incredibly niche. You're doing this at the kind of the tail end of the superhero phase of everything's going to be superhero and comic book based. That's going to tail it off to just the extremes. So to bring a so-called fake comic series back, just utterly bizarre. I don't know. And you look at it, and it's not like Avatar, where everyone really loves Avatar, and they just lie to people's faces and say that it's bad. There's actual people. I've never met anyone who loves Heroes. Never, not once.
No, same.
Yeah, it was just there. Yeah,
bizarre one. But yeah, so apparently that's coming back. Right, so the final bit of news: the top 5 biggest losers of 2023 have been announced. So the 5 films that lost the most money in 2023, The Marvels lost $273 million, The Flash, 155. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, 143. Wish, 131. And Haunted Mansion was 117 million. Tara, is there anything that list tells you about what studios should or shouldn't be doing?
They shouldn't be remaking stuff, and they shouldn't be concentrating too much on superheroes. It's because I didn't see Wish, or I didn't see any of those films, but they just we need more creativity, I think.
I completely agree. I feel like there is too much reliance on nostalgia and pre-existing IP. I do think that we were in a bit of creative, or we were in a creative rut in 2023. I actually think 2024, we've seen a lot of very different things in the cinema, but nothing's really grabbed the bull by the horns this year in terms of box office. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how that's going to play out. Stu, are there any lessons that can be gleaned from the 5 films that have went to shit last year, do you think?
Somehow owned by Disney, which is a problem. And Monopoly's never worked. As we talked about, Monopoly is shitting everything. I don't get a couple of them. I mean, Indiana Jones, I thought that would be bigger than it was. And the fact that I know a lot of people were killed off forever with that nonsense. And the fact that they changed the CGI monkeys for the Disney Plus release, because it didn't look that good back then. No, it did not. No. And so that's been changed to make it better. I said at the time I didn't get the hate for the Marvels. It's obviously never going to be good in that usual term, but I think its problem was, and like what my brother said when he watched it the other day, he didn't watch Ms. Marvel series, so he had no idea what the hell was going on. And we said this last year, the year before, that you're playing a dangerous game by you throw all these things in and you want people to watch everything. If you do that, then you're gonna cut people out. Like Matt said, he wasn't doing it all, and now he's giving up completely. You can't expect people to go and watch a film when half the backstory is a 6-episode miniseries that you have to watch first. Doesn't make any sense. So, I know that a lot of the backlash was because, the usual reasons.
It's all woke, all the nonsense. Yeah.
I mean, and there was a lot of that, but it was nothing to do with any of that stuff. It was genuinely enjoyable if you don't put the hard yards in, but not many people did they? Obviously. But then it comes to streaming, and then you look at that, and it's rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's rated on IMDb, and you think, well, it's found its audience, but later, because then people watch it at home in the first place.
Yeah, I do think that is a very good point, actually. I think people have got tired of seeing the same old thing. But there's no two ways about it. The superhero fatigue was a real thing for quite a period of the last sort of 12 months. It's been nice this year that we haven't had that big superhero film hit the cinema that I can... We've had nothing this year, have we, Stu?
Not yet, no.
There was a Disney Plus show, and I think that's literally all we've had from the MCU. So it's been kind of refreshing to not have to even consider that kind of stuff. So it's good to see.
For context, I took the sunglasses off and it's so bright. But I can't. It's steaming up that badly. I can't see anything anyway. Yeah, Echo was the series that came out, and that was the first episode was all right, but then it
fell off a cliff.
It didn't even fall off a cliff. It pushed itself over a ravine that fell into a little ditch. It was just kind of there, which is if it was horrible and I could hate it, then fine. But it was just boring, which is the worst.
Yeah, it's a bigger crime, isn't it? I'd rather have something that's terrible than something that's ignorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, lovely. So that is the news. Moving on to the questions then. So what have you watched lately? Tara, what's been on your telly box? Because you haven't been to the cinema, have you? You said earlier.
No. I've been rewatching UK Shameless.
Yes.
I've been rewatching it like I haven't. It's just been that. I know there's so much other stuff that's and Baby Reindeer, obviously.
Did you listen to the podcast last week?
I did, of course I did. Yeah. It's mental, and it's mad that they found the woman and they think they found the bloke as well. So it was just, like, I'm proper into stuff like that. And David didn't want to watch it, and I was like, we'll just give one episode a go. And I think we binge watched like 4 of them in one go. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was. Looking back, I think it's possibly a bit irresponsible now, because they've figured out who she is and they've figured out who he is.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, she's mental, obviously, but she's getting death threats, and the other guy, he's quit social media. He's a rapist. So fuck him. But still, it was a bit irresponsible to do it how they did it. But no, UK Shameless, that's what I've been watching.
Interesting. I listened to This Is Entertainment, the Richard Osmond, the Guardian writer. Marina Hyde, that podcast, and they was talking about Baby Reindeer, and they said the issue that Baby Reindeer had is by saying this is a true story rather than this is based on a true story. Because in actuality, it's not a true story. There are elements that were fictionalised for the show. So they have sort of left themselves in a position they could get royally fucked, which is kind of silly.
I think they will.
Yeah.
Because Richard Osmond said he knows who did it. He knows the guy who sexually assaulted him. And apparently it's an open secret in that world. So
yeah, I bet it is. That kind of thing does go around the circles, doesn't it? So I'm not shocked at all by that.
No.
Stuart, have you been to the cinema lately, shit?
You know I have.
You had the mishap with Monkey Man last week.
Yeah, that was a shambles. We recorded the Baby Reindeer thing on the cuff with 2 hours notice, and then I said because I'm going to watch Monkey Man, and because I've been out shock horror on the old libation trail on the Saturday night, I'd booked a ticket to go and see Monkey Man on the Monday because I couldn't go the week before. City World card doesn't matter. And then in my stupidity, had deleted the wrong one. So when I went to go, it was already over.
Oh.
So then I went to the Nickelodeon and had another drink instead. And then came back. So I still haven't watched Monkey Man, funny enough. But yeah, so instead I've watched a lot of TV series. Obviously, the old favourites of Welcome to Wrexham and Your Mate Clarkson's Farm 3. That's back. Don't need to talk about that. Shogun, have you got through with that yet, Andy, or is that next?
That's next. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that's next.
Yeah, so we'll keep off that because me and Ash talked about it enough a few weeks ago. Fallout, class. Finish that.
Oh no, we've only watched a couple of episodes of that, and I really enjoyed it. For somebody who's a non-gamer, I thought it was really good because it's got Walton Scoggins in, hasn't it? And he's brilliant in whatever he's in.
Yeah, he's if you're only a couple of episodes, you wouldn't have seen him as his old ego, the alter ego that he had in the before times. So he's basically playing 2 characters, which is amazing.
Oh yeah. No, I do know about that.
Yeah, he's quality in everything he does, and so is she. I mean, she was in the criminally underlooked still Yellow Jackets, which can't wait for season 3 of that. But yeah, so in lieu of all that stuff, I watched a 4-part series on Netflix called The Holiday from 2020. Exactly, no, not that one. This is a series from 2021. There was a Channel 5 thing. Channel 5 made drama starring Jill Halfpenny, formerly of Coronation Street. So I thought, okay, this is... It didn't even say, because you can only tell by the poster, ITV dramas and stuff like that. Because they've got Deadwater Fell on there as well, which I'd never watched at the time, so I'll watch that next. I thought after getting into the old TV drama group, I thought, I'll watch this. And it was very okay. It was not up to the standard that we've talked about this year, but it's 3 years old. No one's ever heard of it. It was on Channel 5. No one watched it there either. And the other one was the remarkably excellent Blue Lights on iPlayer
Okay.
which is if you want your Line of Duty fix, but it's got a Line of Duty mixed with Mersey Beat from back in the day, but it's based in Belfast, so it's an Northern Irish police youngsters, and so you got that, and you got a kind of a big boss of the underworld story going on at the same time. So it's very odd, and I'd never heard of it before, and it again shows the power of advertising that it was on the the hit BBC drama, which can it be a hit if no one's heard of it? I don't know if it's a thing in Northern Ireland and it's one of these that has just been bought over from there. It could have been, but the lead woman is from Lichfield, so close enough.
It's not the mixed race girl who was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, is it?
No, she's white, and she's in her late 30s, early 40s. So she's the one, like the fish out of water in Northern Ireland, in all the madness of it, all the stuff over there. But yeah, I'm imagining our old American friends might have to watch this one with subtitles, because it does get a bit hard at times. But yeah, it's, considering no one knows about it, no one's heard of it, it's really good.
Did either of you watch This Town?
Yes, I watched one. I've seen the first one. I couldn't get over the brubbiness of it all. It's too much.
Oh, fuck. No, same. Absolutely. Like, all my mates are like, oh, watch it. It's like...
It's by the guy who...
the Peaky Blinders guy. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. And the fella who is playing the main guy, he's from Birmingham, and his accent sounds so fake. But
it's too much.
Just that I couldn't... The dialogue didn't flow. It was like... There's a Coventry-based zombie film called Immune, which is fucking dreadful, right?
That's just a documentary.
Netflix, I think. Try and watch it. It's fucking awful. But the way the dialogue flows in that is how it flowed in This Town. And like David and me, we switched it off. I was like, I can't do it. It's pissing me off. It boiled my blood. I was angry watching it. I was like, I can't do it.
So I have now started season 3 of The Sopranos. What a fucking brilliant show that is. Like, I know everyone said how good it was, and it's even better than everyone was telling me it was. Absolutely loving it. And I can't wait to just keep getting further and further into it. It's incredible. I hadn't realised how funny it was going to be either. Like, proper laugh out loud moments in it. Just tremendous TV. At the cinema, I have seen quite a few films, actually, since the last time we did this. So Abigail, which was actually quite fun. I went in knowing absolutely nothing about it, and that's the best way to see it. Stu hasn't seen it, so I'm not going to spoil anything for this. Go and see it. It's ridiculous. Such a simple premise, and Giancarlo Esposito's in it, so can't go wrong with that. I also saw Challengers, which was fine. People are raving about it, and it's good. I don't think it's the best film of the year, like some people have been saying. Boy Kills World was a really fun, silly, gonzo movie, I think would be the term, but better than Prisoners of the Ghostland, if you remember that one. So, yeah. And then on Friday this week, I went to see The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, which I absolutely loved. I had such a great time. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt have just got endless chemistry. You see them on screen and they're just sort of perfect together. They work together. There's one bit where Ryan Gosling, he does this thing where he's not looking at the camera, then he turns and flicks his fringe. And I think I swooned. Like, so fucking suave. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Silly nonsense. It didn't tax the brain at all, but it was wonderful fun. But I will watch anything with that pairing. Which then leads me to the rest of my weekend, which has just been Ryan Gosling films. So I watched The Fall Guy, I watched Barbie, I watched The Big Short, I watched Blue Valentine, and I watched Only God Forgives. I watched nothing but Ryan Gosling movies for an entire weekend, and it's been fantastic.
Sounds like somebody's got a crush.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he's tremendous. All the time in the world for Ryan Gosling. Big fan of him. Right, so we'll move on to the questions next. So, Stu, your question is up first, please, sir.
It doesn't make any sense. Just put your question in now because you just talked about him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
Exactly.
I suppose so. So, yeah, following on from my Ryan Gosling-a-thon, what is Ryan Gosling's best performance? Stuart?
Now, this is harder than I imagined it be because obviously Drive is a brilliant film, but is he as excellent in that as people say? I mean, he's good, but I think that film overall is a lot better than him. His performance in it.
It's a muted performance, though, isn't it? Like, it's still very good, but he's not giving it socks.
Yeah, it's like Hasselhoff in Baywatch. It's not the main thing about it, but he's just there. What first jumped to my mind was La La Land, because I love that film, and I think I did enjoy it a lot more than most people did that I spoke to about it. Obviously, or it won and whatever, but we talked about it already. I can't not say Barbie, because however stupid that film is, you almost have to be a certain level of excellent to pull that performance of sheer stupidity off so well. And we've seen people try to be funny before, and it just doesn't work. And he's tried to play the straight man, and you look at him and his whole career arc where he does serious stuff, and then he does something silly, and then he's completely embraced this nonsense. And you look at the Oscars and all that performance there. And I watched the thing on Jimmy Kimmel earlier today where he was promoting the Fall Guy, and he's doing stunts with these stunt men and backstage. And I don't really like Jimmy Kimmel, but by the by. But he's fully embracing the whole chaos of it all the time. And with the absence of not seeing that film yet, I'm going to say Barbie.
Yeah, can't knock it, can you? Tara, what is the best Gosling?
I think I went. It's a tie between Drive and the other guys. Not the other guys, the nice guys. Sorry, the nice guys. The other guys is the one with Will Ferrell. But no, the nice guys, which me and my ex-friend Racist James had a night in, and we watched Drive together, and then the other guys the nice guys came up, and we watched that, and his comic timing is spot on. He's just, I can't tell you, it's amazing. It's such a good film. You should give it a go.
They keep talking about doing a sequel to The Nice Guys. I really want them to, because it deserves it.
Yeah. I mean, the plot makes no sense, but I could watch those two endlessly, couldn't you? They work so well together.
No, I'm sure we mentioned The Nice Guys, like when we were talking about what is that, Ricky Stenicki, and how that the kind of the silly film is back, and how we've only had it sporadically over the years, and it sounds like Fall Guys is in that kind of vein as well.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is stupid. I love Anchorman, and I love the Step Brothers and the 40-Year-Old Virgin, because they're just stupid films.
Yeah. So the answer to the question for me is Lars and the Real Girl, I think, is his best performance.
Oh, how did I forget that?
Oh my God. I think that may have been the first performance of his I saw. I remember there was a lot of buzz about Ryan Gosling after he did Half Nelson, which is a really good film as well, to be fair. But yeah, Lars and the Real Girl I saw at the Lighthouse Cinema in Wolverhampton. It's independent cinema, because it was such a small little film that got no release at all, really. Yeah. So you ended up having to see it at independent cinemas. And it is literally that he plays Lars, and he is a bit of a socially awkward person, to the point that he lives in his brother's spare room sort of thing. And he then meets a girl, the real girl, but it's actually a sex doll that he dresses up and treats like a human being. And because his brother loves him and wants him to be a little bit more inclusive, he gets everybody in their little town to treat this person this doll like a real human being. And it's the most heartwarming thing I've ever seen. It's absolutely beautiful.
I had a sick day years ago, and I bought that, and I bought Once on DVD, on Blu-ray. And so I spent the day in bed watching those two films, and Lars and the Real Girl was just like, oh my God, I cried. It's such a wonderful film. I can't believe I forgot that.
I remember being in the cinema, and there's a part where, as he starts to become more accepted by the society, the real girl starts to become ill, and she starts to die off. And there was a person sat next to me. I could hear them sniffling. I could hear them crying at the death of a sex doll. And I'm like, that's how good this film is. That's how much of an impact this film made. Absolutely.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I'll have to rewatch it. I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Yeah, tremendous movie.
Yeah, great film.
Right, Stu, you're up next, please, sir. So, did you see what I was on about with this? First of all, because
was this the intro to the the day? Okay, yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
I was out last night celebrating birthdays and pre-birthdays, and I came home and apparently I watched it. I don't remember. I was drunk, so I said to David earlier. I said, "Oh, there was a Doctor Who Match Today crossover," and he went, "Yeah, we watched it last night." I was like, "Oh, right, okay then." So yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
I mean, do you have to be royalty to have pre-birthdays now? Is this a thing?
No, so right, there's three in my circle of friends. 3 of us have got birthdays in May. Joe's was last Thursday, mine is this Thursday, and Claire's is this Friday. So we just go out and have like one big do.
So this makes sense. I thought you were a pre-birthday celebration, and then your birthday celebration, and then a post.
Oh no, May is my birthday month. So it's whenever what I can do: go for dinner, have some drinks. I'm doing it all.
You can't Halloween your own birthday month.
I fucking can. Watch me.
See, that's how you get the commentary out of that. So basically for the uneducated, and I mean, bear in mind, when I got back, I was in no fit state to see anything, so I watched this morning. And the Match of the Day started, but it wasn't Match of the Day. It was this weird crossover with Doctor Who, and it flitted between different eras of Match of the Day, and then you had Gary Lineker with some metal on his face and a holographic Ian Wright, which was just bizarre. I thought, am I still pissed? But no. So I thought, well, there's only one thing you could possibly say to this now. What would be the best crossover of IP that you could imagine? Either TV or other TV shows or films. World is your oyster. Andrew, go.
So I've gone with... I actually want 2, if you don't mind, Stuart. I want a film... I want to swap characters around, and I want to see how they work in their respective films. So I want Sergeant Nicholas Angel and PC Danny Butterman to swap places with Somerset and Mills. So I want Hot Fuzz and Seven to work together. So I want to see Angel and Butterman up against John Doe and Somerset and Mills to try and take down the local government in Hot Fuzz. I think that would be an excellent mashup of genre. Yeah. So that's it for me. Hot Fuzz and Seven.
Except there really would be a head in the box in that situation, wouldn't there? Spoilers.
Yeah.
Tara.
I think Succession and Drop the Dead Donkey.
Oh,
I like that.
Because, so, Logan Roy's trying to buy up the newspaper and, they won't have it. And then Stephen Tompkins's reporter tries to brown nose. He tries to become the Tom Wamsgams of it. And, I think it'd work really, really well.
Yeah, that feels like that could fit into the same world quite nicely, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. Because all the characters are so ridiculous.
Mm.
I haven't seen that for a long time.
Yeah, it's been forever. Like a Thursday night Channel 4 special kind of thing, isn't it?
But it was brilliant because they wrote it on the fly. They wrote it so it included the day's news.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Not know that.
Yeah. I'm old, so that's how I know that.
Yeah, I think we're probably too young to appreciate it back then. Or so watching old episodes of I Know It's For You, if that was even possible. Oh, you think I just wouldn't get it, would you? I mean, mine was kind of, again, based on this weekend because obviously on a couch journey that long and that drunk, and you kind of get talking about what you've watched and all the Neanderthals on there. But then there's good old Cheryl on there, who's a 65-year-old woman, and she'd never seen Dexter before. It came on Netflix, which is again a rebirth of something from years ago, and then that got a nice send off in the end. If that is going to be the send off, it answers some questions which have lingered for 14 years. But I thought, well, actually, something that would fit in the same world, mash that up with Hannibal.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect.
That would be excellent. That would be so good.
Because he'd hunt him down. You know that. You need to watch it, Andy. It's good. Really good.
I've not seen either of those shows, to be fair.
Oh, Hannibal. I haven't watched Dexter, but Hannibal was oh my God. I love that show so much. We went to the Electric had a screening of series. They had a screening of one episode, and then the premiere of episode 3. And we went along, and there was a baker. She lives in America now, called Annabelle Lecter, and she did all these like food based. There was like cake, but it was in the shape of a pair of lungs. There was an arm. You know, the one with the arm with the mushrooms, Stu, where the arms are sticking out of the ground. There was an arm. There were these mushrooms. There were snails. It was fantastic. So I love that show so much. I've got the cookbook of it. You can get the cookbook, and I don't eat meat, but I would try and make like any of the food. It looks amazing.
Yeah, if you thought that the wanky cake discussion that you and Matt were having in the old group chat the other day. You watch Hannibal and that'll make you hungry.
Yeah.
Because me and Dean had the same thing when we watched it at the time. And it was like, yeah, you shouldn't be kind of salivating over bits of arm. But he makes it look so appealing.
It does, yeah. It looks amazing.
Excellent. So, your questions next, please.
Right, okay. So, being a woman, I'm mad into true crime podcasts, true crime documentaries, films and stuff. I had Audible credits, so I downloaded Love As Always Mum by Fred and Rose West's daughter, Mae West. And I know we've had films and TV series about killers before, but I wanted to know who, if you were to choose like a killer or a true crime case, who would you choose and who would you cast it for Hollywood?
It came to me straight away because he gets referenced way more than he should do. And Harold Shipman is, it's almost like it's funny because it's old people, but it's really not, is it?
I know what you mean, though. It's almost like a common answer to something, isn't it?
Yeah. And like anyone, like when Jaffa put that picture on, he's been on the show before, when he put that picture of himself with a big beard and he looked like Harold Shipman. These things happen. But I know we had that TV drama and it's kind of been done, but you look at how well Tennant played his role when he did Des. Yeah. In a similar vein to that, I think we need to do it properly. We need to, an older gentleman now, and we all know he's going to die in the end, so it's going to be Sean Bean, hasn't it?
Fantastic. What a great answer.
So
yeah.
I've gone with an American one. Now, I think they did try and make a film, but when I look on IMDb, it doesn't exist on IMDb. The killer is David Parker Ray, who is also known as the Toy Box Killer.
The Toy Box Killer, yeah.
She's just the most
horrific,
disturbing thing I have ever heard.
Yeah.
If you want to, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but if you want to know the grisly details, last podcast on the left did a really deep dive into that. It's well worth a listen. But basically the story is David Parker Ray kidnapped, tortured, sexually assaulted many women, probably killed quite a few as well, although that was never proven. In a nutshell, along with probably many of his ex-girlfriends, he, and reportedly also his daughter, he would take women to his trailer, which he labelled the Toy Box, where he used whips, chains, pulley straps, leg spreader bars, surgical blades, electric shock machines and saws, and other things that I don't want to talk about on this podcast.
No.
There are only 3 known survivors, and there are many potential victims who vanished. It's arguably the most disturbing shit I had ever heard of. It's just bonkers. So for this film, I think you need David Parker Ray, his girlfriend. You need Cynthia Vigil. She is the woman who escaped and notified the police and ultimately led to his arrest. You also need Kelly Garrett, which is one of the saddest stories I've ever heard of. So she was taken, abused, and left for dead on a beach. She was then sort of picked up and returned back to her home. She had no recollection of the previous days because of how badly she was abused, how much she was drugged. And I think just psychologically her brain shut down to protect herself from everything that happened. When the police arrested Ray, they found his videos of what happened and recognised the tattoo. So the police informed her of everything that had happened to her in those 2 days that she lost. So she had to relive all of that shit that she went through. Absolutely heartbreaking. It's just horrendous, but I think this would make a really interesting film. So I would go with someone like Vincent D'Onofrio for Ray, because I think you need someone who's a little bit older.
Yeah,
he's got that magnetism, because I don't know if Ray did have that, but I feel like the character would have that to attract these people. The girlfriend would be Patricia Arquette. Cynthia Vigil would be a younger woman, someone I think needs to have a bit of moxie, so I would go with Maya Hawke, because she's hot shit. Yeah. She can do that kind of role like with the plum. Kelly Garrett, I don't know ages or anything on this, but I'm picturing Evan Rachel Wood, someone who's got that strength, but also a vulnerability to her. I think Evan Rachel Wood would be a good pick. I also think you would need a lead police officer to be hunting down where these body parts are appearing from. So I would go with someone like Jake Gyllenhaal for that role.
Yeah, cool. Mine is it's Fred and Rose. It's going to be Fred and Rose. So Fred, Rose, her parents, and so Fred West, controversial Mark Ruffalo, I think would be good.
I could see that, yeah.
I think it could, Rose, I mean, I know we had Appropriate Adult with Dominic West and Monica Dolan, which was brilliant. But if it's going to give it the Hollywood style, and actually I've asked this question, and we're making big Hollywood movies, and I don't go to watch live podcast recordings of true crime because I think it's really shitty of people to make money off the back of dead people. But now we're going to Hollywood, we're going to throw money at it. So Mark Ruffalo, I think as Rose, somebody like what's her name? You've seen It Follows?
Yeah,
the girl from It Follows. Forgotten her name. Her name begins with an M.
I will quickly Google it while you fam. It's Maika Monroe.
Yeah, her. She's brilliant. She's such a good actor. So I think she'd be good as Rose, because Rose was a lot younger than Fred. And then her parents would be somebody like Charles Dance, who'd be good. And then maybe someone like
Sally Field.
Do you know, that's not a bad shout. Something like Sally Field. Yeah. And then because there's so many kids. But May, if it's basing it on the film that May, on the book that May wrote, I would say somebody like maybe Maya Hawke or Anya Taylor-Joy.
Good choices. Super. Right then, so the final question, it's been sent in by Mr. Matthew Guy. He wants to know, what is the best sci-fi film that nobody has heard of? Clara?
This Quiet Earth, which is an Australian sci-fi film that my husband raves about. And then because I'm not into sci-fi, you know this, but I watched it and it's fantastic. It's just like something happens in the world and it's just Australian like desert and stuff. So yeah, it's really good. You should watch it. It's really good.
I've never even heard of that, and it's from the director of Dante's Peak and Under Siege 2.
Yep.
Wow, okay.
There you go. Yep. Try and check it out if you can. It's really good.
I am adding to that list. Stu?
What was it called?
This Quiet Earth.
1985.
Interesting. Just looking at who else is it. Is that? No, that's not him. I thought that was someone I recognised then, but it's obviously not, is it? Mine, I mean, it depends who you're talking to, because a lot of the kids of today, they would not know what Gattaca is. And I don't think many people, it's kind of forgotten more than never discovered in the first place. But I love that film. And I think you watch it.
So what? Gattaca?
Gattaca, whichever.
Oh, because I was like, I've never heard it. Oh, hang on. He said it wrong because he's from fucking Wolverhampton.
I've never heard anyone say it before. So
Gattaca?
Gattaca. You've never heard of people say Gattaca before?
No, I don't know, do I? But yeah, it's one of them that's very... I know there was a period of time where it was talked about all the time. But it was so long ago that I can't remember how to even say it. But yeah.
Because it came out around the same time as The Talented Mr. Ripley, I think.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Law was fucking everywhere for like about a decade, wasn't he?
He was like shit in a field, wasn't he?
Yeah, couldn't get rid of the cunt.
But if you look at it now, and when you got people who this madness can actually be done, and you can change genetics, and you can like select certain things now, and you can probably do a lot more than we're told. But
get your tinfoil out off, Stu, for fuck's sake.
It's only tinfoil if you believe. But the real answer is obviously what I've talked about it at the time a couple of years ago. Vespa. It's a Netflix original. It's about biohacking and the fact of using plants as computers, which is a very weird thing to think. But why is that any different to bits of plastic being computers when we are biomass ourselves? It's very clever. Really, really low budget, but it looks amazing. Vespa.
Well, okay.
I
remember you talking about it, but I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Gattaca either, in fairness. They just sound very much like Talented Mr. Ripley, the man trying to assume the identity of someone else. I'll probably get around to that at some point, I think. So my answer is, I'm hoping this is one that no one's ever heard of. It's a film called Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel.
Yes, Chris O'Dowd's in it.
Yes.
We started watching it, yeah, and I forget why we didn't, because the three lads go down the pub and then stuff happens and then we didn't continue.
So the film itself, I think, is like 80 minutes long. It's only a short movie. It is about the complexities of depicting time travel on the big screen. So it's like quite metatextual, really. It explores topics like the grandfather paradox, butterfly effect theories about meeting yourself, your past selves. But it's entirely set, or almost entirely set, within a British pub. So everything happens and they go to the toilet and there is a time leak in the toilet. So they keep coming back out and everything's completely changed. It's like really quite sweet as well, because Chris O'Dowd's character loses his job and it's just about his friends trying to pick him back up and get him back on his feet and make him a little bit happier. So he's got this sort of sweet undercurrent to it all this craziness that's going on. But as well as that, there's some really interesting shots that take place without the visual trickery that you associate with big films. It's really interesting how they show the passage of time without it being CGI. Got a really good cast. So you've got Anna Faris, Mark Wootton's in it, Dean Lennox-Kelly, who Stu you'll probably know from Shameless.
I was going to say it's come full circle because she's talked about Shameless earlier.
Yeah. And as Tara said, Chris O'Dowd's in it as well. It's a really clever, really fun, and just a great 80-minute film. And it's free on the iPlayer, so you can't really go far wrong with this.
But does he have the BBC watermark in the corner? He probably will do.
It does, because, yeah, that's unfortunate. But, like I say, it's only 80 minutes long. I think you would enjoy it. I think Matt would, because I know Matt likes comedy with heart, and that's what this has got. So I think, as I said earlier, I think both of you, would probably enjoy my pick, and I think you should both give it a watch.
I never knew what this was, but I remember him not being in Shameless to make a film. So I'm guessing that this is the film that he made.
Could have been. It was 2009 this was released. So it was like in the middle of Chris O'Dowd's The It Crowd as well, I think. Or maybe it was at the end of the original run. I can't quite remember the time of that one. But yes, so, that would make sense. It could have been.
So Shameless was 2004 to 2013, so yeah.
So yes, you're bang in the middle of his run then, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right then, so we'll call it a day on the QuestionCast portion of the podcast. Me and Stu will be moving on to discuss Bermondsey Tales, The Fall of the Roman Empire, which is a film which will be released in UK cinemas on the 17th of May and then available on DVD, Blu-ray and digital download from the 10th of June. Tara's having issues with her computer, so I don't know if she's going to get a chance to actually say goodbye. So I'm going to say a big thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for your questions. Well, I think we've done well to get this far without talking about football and stuff, so yeah.
You only just hinted at Coventry, and this is what happens. This is what happens. People thought we were harsh for banning her forever, but they got their karma. They beat us in the last minute, and then look what happens to them. So, all's fair.
Right, so welcome back. So we're going to be reviewing Bermondsey Tales, Fall of the Roman Empire. London crime boss Mick Roden is deathly ill and time is running out to find a successor. His only options are an aging consigliere and impulsive enforcer, both of whom are unsuitable to take the throne. Meanwhile, chaos reigns over the family, who are coping with a paranoid ex-soldier, the return of a rebellious niece, and a drug-fueled business meeting in Amsterdam. With deceit, ambition, and infighting on the rise, this Roman Empire may be about to fall. Starring John Hannah, Alan Ford, who you will know as Britpop from Snatch, Vicky Michelle from Hello Hello, Vaz Blackwood, who you'll know from Lock, Stock, Charlie Clapham, apparently he's in Hollyoaks, Maisie Smith is Tiffany Butcher from EastEnders. Is that Pat Butcher's daughter?
No idea.
No, yeah. Linda Robson, Birds of a Feather, and David Shaw, who you'll know as Jay's arsehole dad in The In-Betweeners. I quite like... yeah, that sigh was a bit foretelling, wasn't it? I quite like a British gangster comedy type thing. Like, I like Lock, Stock, I like Snatch. I've seen various iterations like Cockneys versus Zombies. Those kinds. I quite enjoy the genre, I've got to be honest, Stu. Are you a fan historically of these type of films?
Yeah, I mean, the Guy Ritchie ones, obviously. But this, I mean, you did miss off the hero of the piece, Gary Webster, who was in Minder, of course, back in the day. He was the second. He was the nephew of in the second iteration of Minder. But yeah, it's always the same though. It's always the same people in these Cockney gangster films.
Every single time, yeah. I mean, like I said, Alan Ford. People only know Alan Ford as Bricktop, and he's in every single one of these films, isn't he?
There was another guy as well. Where's he? What's his name? Where he appeared, and I thought, I know you from something else. And then you look through the list and you think, yeah, he's been in one of these as well. But the fact that I can't straight away find his name, which is annoying. Well, there's people in this called Big Fella 1 and and Mourner and Houdini and Professional Mourner 2, which is not unheard of, obviously, but it's just so on brand for this film. And I was sitting there, I thought, we've watched some stuff in the past, and we've watched some Cage films in the past. And when this came up as a university logo, I thought, what on earth? I thought, what even is it? Is it a project? Frank Harper, that's the guy. That's the guy I was thinking of. He was in, again, Football Factory as Billy Bright.
Yes. Yeah. I know the one you mean.
This is in
He's done everything of this, hasn't he?
Lock, Stock. Let's talk about Jaws on Night. Yeah, all the usual ones. St. George's Day, of course, is in there. Victim, which has got a man in a balaclava with a Union Jack in the background.
Yeah. And Bend It Like Beckham.
Of course. You got to have a bit of authenticity there. He Kills Coppers, Rise of the Foot Soldier. You know the one.
Yeah.
Waking the Dead. I thought Walking Dead. That's Waking the Dead. It's the old BBC show. But yeah, he's in the usual suspects. The only person really missing is Danny Dyer, but obviously they couldn't afford him because who the fuck knows what this is? Because it looks crap. So in some scenes, it looks awfully bad. But then at times it looks fine. And I don't get it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is this film?
It's a basket case of a movie, isn't it? It is all over the shop. Wow, I've got to admit, the opening scene, I chuckled a few times as he was going along. I thought, this is funny enough. It's entirely forgettable, but it's not terrible. And then all of a sudden, it goes to like the grittiest grit you've ever fucking seen. And where has this come from? Because this hasn't been in the movie for the preceding 70 minutes, but all of a sudden, for the last 20, we're going to get people, lying about being raped and blowing people's heads off. Oh, what the fuck is this? I did not understand what was happening at any point through this. It jumps about the place as well because it does try to be a little bit Pulp Fiction-y in having us being in one period of time, then a different period of time. But the only way you know is if you see where it says 4 weeks ago, because otherwise you wouldn't know. Like it's
all the wipes of that as well. Like it looked like it was just someone knocked it up in Canva.
Yeah,
it was University of Middlesex or something like that. I can't get over that because if it was a student film and they just got all these like Z-list London actors doing a favour or something like that, then you can. Well, that's pretty impressive actually. Fair play to you.
Yeah,
but that's the context you're working at here because you look at it and I thought when he said John Hannah, I love John Hannah. I loved him in Spartacus as well when he was the spin-off that they made of Spartacus when the main guy got cancer, which was sad. Before they had to recast it, so they did that spin-off, didn't they? Was it Blood and Sands?
Yeah,
Blood and Sands or something like that. And John Hannah was in that, and he's always good in everything. And I think this is the most wacky I've ever seen John Hannah in anything.
I like when the first time we see him, we hear of the postman, and he rocks up on the screen, and two people are sat down on a park bench, and he comes and stands near them. He's like, "Don't look at me. If you know what I'm talking about, rub your head. But if you don't, pat your." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And it was so, like you say, it was wacky. It didn't suit the comedy they'd sort of set out. Don't get this. This was halfway through the film. John Hannah's name is the first name on the IMDb list of actors. When we got the email about reviewing this, his was the name that was sold to us.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in it for 4 minutes, if that. It feels like they paid him a lot of money to do a very little bit of work, and that was enough for them to like put it out there because he is a name of note. Everyone else, like you do recognise from other British stuff, but they're not people who you're going to be turning up. You're not going to be turning up to see Vaz Blackwood. No disrespect to him, he's a solid enough actor in everything he does, but he's not the name who you're going to be pitching a film for, is he?
I mean, I remember him in kids' TV show Spats, that was based in a fake version of Pizza Hut.
Yes, I remember that. Jesus, Webb. That was Vaz Blackwood, yeah? Oh my God. I'd completely wiped that from my memory.
But that was, when I saw him, I didn't think of Loxley. I thought, oh, Spats. Because he looks the same.
He does, yeah.
Other than having no hair now, obviously.
Yeah.
But his face has not changed since he was like 14 years old.
Yeah. His voice is exactly the same as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like his balls never dropped. He's still quite squeaky. Yeah.
It's like that one of them scenes where they're Minder too, in that kind of, well, what was it, kind of like a shitty apartment like thing, where it was cringy because you had him moving around the setting. He's like, oh, well, okay, so he'll speak it, and now you go to this marker, and now you walk in, and it was proper Amdram stuff.
It was very stagey, wasn't it, in parts? And it looked like it was filmed on like an iPhone 11 as well. Not one of the later models, just a reasonable one, because it didn't quite have that you associate with watching a movie. It looked a little bit too loose for my tastes. And as you say, I'm sure I've done better editing on Power Director on this laptop. So it's a bit bizarre.
Yeah, but for all its faults, though, I can't hate it. And watching these things, we said, yeah, we've got a British gangster movie to review, and I kind of giggled to myself, and I thought, well, after that animated nonsense the other a few weeks ago, so I can't be watching
Max Beyond.
Yeah,
Max Beyond. Yeah.
We can't be getting drawn into. I mean, there has been a few. We're not doing all of these. We have turned a few down, haven't we?
We have.
But this one did seem like it might have something, and even being bad. But like I said earlier, you go from scenes like that, and you have the whole thing where he has a go at his son for bringing a girl back, and then she's like cussing him and all this stuff. What is? It's not even EastEnders quality. But then you that scene in the toilets, in the torture scene in the toilet,
where he shoots his mate. Like there are bits that I very much recognise from Snatch and Lock, Stock. Like that bit was kind of funny where he shot him, and he's got that massive fucking gun, and he's like, you're carrying an anti-air rifle. There are jokes in it where I did chuckle. Okay, that is quite amusing. It's clever what you've done. It's nothing wholly original, but that's not to say it's bad. I didn't feel like I needed to turn it off quite like I did with Max Beyond. Like, it took me so long to get through Max Beyond, like, for so many things. Whereas this, I watched it, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I've definitely seen worse this year. So, yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was a mess.
Yeah.
Like, it was all over the shop, how it went from proper slapsticky nonsense to murder and stuff within the space of a few seconds. It was a bit incoherent, I think is probably the word for it, Stu.
Yeah, and there was things like the random taxi driver stuff. What was that all about?
Yeah. That then comes back in at the end where he gets...
Yeah.
So the taxi driver is part of the crew, but maybe not. We don't quite know. And then someone gets robbed, and that plays no bearing on anything else.
Well, it's the fact that when he's in that like pound shop cop uniform, and he's got loosely tied to the chair, and she starts having a heart attack, and it's like, is it supposed to be funny or not? I don't know.
I think it was, because it did feel almost slapsticky in the early stages of the film. It was quite comedy driven, I think, at that point. But then it stops, and it almost feels like an anthology film, because there's lots of bits that don't matter and don't really fit in anywhere else. So they've just sort of thumbed it in there, maybe. I think it did suffer for it not having a coherent plan, a coherent A to B to C kind of pattern to it. I think jumping all over the place. There was nothing really to differentiate between each segment either. So it felt like what's the term I'm looking for? It's almost like a handbrake turn. We're going in one direction and all of a sudden, no, we're not. We're going over here. And I didn't like that feeling. It was a little bit too unnerving for me that I don't know where you're going with this. Maybe people enjoy it, I don't know. But for me, that was an issue.
Yeah, it felt like it kind of should have been like a 3-part miniseries rather than a film.
Could have been, yeah. Could have.
but you'd have to stretch it out a lot. And is that the problem, that this is a story that has got a lot of moving parts that don't necessarily interact with each other, but they're all part of the bigger whole? And we didn't really appreciate that because it's not done well enough. Who knows? But I will say this for it, though, that I wanted to talk about it straight away as soon as I'd watched it. And the fact that we've had to wait, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Since we got the review, the preview sent through. And I haven't watched it again. I've only seen it once, and that was in the middle of a Thursday afternoon 3 weeks ago. And I can remember every single beat to every scene. And for a film that's probably this bad, I mean, it is bad, but it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable, and if I wouldn't say, do not go unless you've got like a City World card or the equivalent with Odeon or whatever. I wouldn't. You couldn't, with good faith, say, yeah, this is worth £10.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is on like Film 4 or something, if it's on some random streaming service of some kind eventually,
mm-hmm.
then definitely watch it, because it is enjoyable in a kind of take the piss out of it, but still enjoy it for what it is kind of way.
There is a campness and a kitschiness to it almost that I think is enjoyable enough.
Yeah,
I almost feel like if it had a good director, this would have made a really interesting short film. I'd say short, like 40 minutes. There was enough there to make a sizable, quote-unquote, short film. If they'd have taken the silliness out, like you say, the scene with the copper and the taxi driver and the stuff that doesn't really have any bearing on the story, just have the death of the guy or the illness of the Roman, Mick Roman, and everything that goes on around the succession that is trying to happen in it, could have been really interesting. There's just too much airy-fairy stuff around it. Like the John Hannah stuff was utterly irrelevant. He doesn't appear. He's literally mentioned 2 minutes before you see him. You see him for 4 minutes and that's it. That's his story done. It has no bearing on anything. Take those out, I think you could have a really interesting short movie.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Because, I mean, even the rape stuff did kind of count in the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like, well, this has been kind of crowbarred in, the pun. It didn't, this wasn't telegraphed from anywhere. It was like, well, this is not what this is all about.
Mm.
And then you have the whole thing with that, and it's both too short and too long at the same time.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because they don't flesh out some of the stuff enough, do they?
No.
Yeah. So, you are right. Look, I couldn't recommend anyone to pay money to see this. But if the opportunity is there on a streaming service, on Film 4, absolutely give it your 90 minutes. I've had more fun with that than other films that I've seen in the last year. So, yeah, not terrible. Not worth a cinema ticket, unfortunately, for me personally.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And if you used to watch Minder and you've watched Minder on the ITV4 or ITV3, whichever it's replayed all the time on, and you miss him, go and watch him, because he hasn't aged that much either.
No, he hasn't. This film is the who's who of who's that, I think.
Yeah.
The best way to put it, because it is full of those. I know you from something, but I don't know where. Yeah. So, Stu, we retro-engineer the question. So, if you liked X, you may like Bermondsey Tales. What's X? What's the film that might be the link?
I mean, I'm going to say The Gentleman.
Okay.
Well, you didn't like it, and you didn't finish it anyway. I mean, Lock, Stock's the obvious one, but it's got the same kind of silly vibes as The Gentleman. I haven't seen the series yet. It's on the list. But yeah, the film, love the film. The silliness of Hugh Grant in that film is what this should be and what he thinks it is at times. So go and watch that. It's better.
Okay, super. I've gone with another silly-ish one. I'm going with Cockneys versus Zombies, which I mentioned before. Bricktop's in it, so you've got that link. I remember when I saw the name and the picture from it, I thought this is going to be real low-budget awfulness. And it's actually not. It's actually quite funny. I think if you like... Have you seen Cemetery Junction, Stu?
No.
Okay, I think you'd like Cemetery Junction. The guy who plays Snork in it is also in this. And he's very good in it. He's very funny. He's a bit silly. And it is quite silly. And the silliness in Bermondsey Tales, I think, does translate quite well with that. So I think if you like Cockneys versus Zombies, you'd probably get on with this, albeit in a slightly... One's a gangster comedy zombie film, and the other one's a comedy gangster rape film. Like, that's such a thing. Like, it's that weird bit at the end. So yeah, that's my answer anyway. Right, so that's us done this week. I don't know what I've got planned for next week. I'll think of something. Oh, we've got another review, haven't we, Stu? We've got another review. We're doing the film. What's it called? We've got the film. This a family affair. We are going to be reviewing a family affair which will be due out later in the month, and we'll be looking at British comedy or stand-up comedians doing acting, that sort of thing. I'll let you know when we know a bit more. We make these up as we go along. So please make sure you subscribe to whatever podcast show that you listen to us on, and a 5-star review would be phenomenal. Stu, for this week, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye. And in preparation for next week, everyone, go and watch Mouse Hunt, because he does exist, and the fact that he doesn't know that he exists until the middle of this week is a mystery to me. Wonderful, wonderful nonsense. Silly film from the late 90s. Goodbye.
Do I need to watch it? Or...
Yeah. But I think you will enjoy it, actually. It's been years since I watched it, and we watched it at the showcase, and I had it on VHS as well. And back then I watched it multiple times. It is very silly, and it's very slapstick. It's not like it's more Mr. Bean than Guest Says Paradiso. Put it that way. Yeah, but it's that kind of vibe, that kind of era. So I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay. I'll see if I can fit that in this week. Super. Right, here's goodbye from me, and remember, be excellent to each other.